You know, the homes we live in, they tell a story. And I'm not just talking about wood and stucco. It's a much deeper story about who we are, what we value, and maybe even a few of our secrets. So let's get into it, because the way we design our living spaces says a whole lot more about us than you might think. It really all starts with a feeling. We might walk in thinking we want a specific look, right? But as the folks at Hearth LA point out, what actually wins us over is something you can't quite put your finger on. It's that vibe, that sense of airiness from a high ceiling, or the way the light just floods a room. It's not a label, it's a total experience. So where does that feeling really come from? Is it all about the public face of the home, the style that everyone sees from the street? Or is it hiding somewhere deeper, in the most private corners of our lives? That's the big question we're going to dig into. All right, to start, let's look at that public face. Los Angeles is a perfect place to do this because its neighborhoods are this amazing patchwork of different architectural styles, and each one is telling its own version of the California dream. And you can see the contrast in feeling right away. On one hand, you've got the Spanish colonial revival. With its white stucco and red tile roofs, it's selling this whole story of a romantic, old-world escape. But then on the other hand, you have the Craftsman bungalow, which has a completely different vibe. All that handcrafted wood and the deep front porch, it feels cozy, solid, and really connected to the earth. Two totally different dreams. And this contrast just keeps going with more modern styles. Mid-century modern, with its clean lines and floor-to-ceiling glass, is all about lifestyle. It's about blurring the line between inside and out. Then you have contemporary design, which takes that love of glass and just pushes it even further, creating these bold, luxurious homes that feel very cutting edge, often with tons of smart home tech. These exterior styles are fascinating for sure, but they're kind of like a performance for the street. To really get what's changed about the modern home, we have to move past the curb appeal and actually step inside. Because, for all these beautiful facades we've just been looking at, the most profound shift in how we live and what we really value in a home, it wasn't visible from the street at all. It was all happening behind closed doors. So if we want to get to the real heart of the matter, to find the one room that tells the truest story of our transformation or the last 100 years, where do we go? I'm going to bet it's not where you're expecting. That's right. The bathroom. I know. But this once purely functional, hidden-away space has gone through this quiet revolution. And its journey tells us so much about our changing ideas of privacy, luxury, and even art. So let's trace that journey. We're going from this simple, hygienic utility room to, basically a stage for personal expression. And it all starts with a concept that might sound a little strange at first. This is what design historian Jan Jennings calls the naked bathroom. And it's pretty much the endpoint of this whole evolution. It's where fixtures like a tub or a sink break free from their little private box and are put right out on display. Think of a freestanding tub in a bedroom or a shower with glass walls. But to get how we ended up here, we've got to go back. For decades, the bathroom was just a white box. Seriously, it was driven by this obsession with hygiene, so it was tiled, it was sterile, it was simple. Its only job was to be practical, and its design was meant to be clean and kind of forgettable, not beautiful or expressive. So how in the world did this functional little cell turn into a showpiece? Well, the transformation really started when architects and manufacturers began treating bathroom fixtures like they were art. And they did it by borrowing 4 specific display techniques literally straight out of a museum. First up is the vignette. Just look at this incredible ad from the 1930s. They weren't just selling a tub and a toilet here. They were selling a whole scene, a curated fantasy. They were creating this idea of a temple of health and charm. They were selling a lifestyle. Second is the niche. This was the next step. By building a recess into the wall for the sink or the toilet, designers were basically putting a frame around them. A simple fixture wasn't just sitting in a room anymore, it was being presented as a special object, something worthy of its own architectural spotlight. The third device is the plinth, or, a platform. In a museum, you put a sculpture on a plinth to elevate it, to give it status. Well, in this hotel room, the exact same thing is happening. By raising the bathtub up on a platform, it stops being just a tub. It becomes a centerpiece, a piece of functional sculpture that's demanding your attention. And that brings us to the final and honestly the most dramatic technique, the vitrine, or the glass showcase. This is the ultimate expression of the naked bathroom. The solid walls are gone, they're replaced by glass. Private rituals are suddenly visible, and the whole room becomes an exhibit. We've gone from hiding the bathroom to putting it and ourselves completely on display.
Okay, so this whole historical journey, from a hidden white box to a glass showcase, it's not just some abstract design exercise. It actually sets the stage perfectly for a very real and fascinating trend we see in homes today.
Which leads us right to this modern-day puzzle. I mean, if you've ever looked at real estate listings, especially for new or bigger homes, you'll see something curious. 4 bedrooms, but 5 bathrooms. Or 6 bedrooms and 7.5 baths. Why this absolute explosion in bathrooms? Well, the answer is a mix of convenience, privacy, and, you guessed it, status.
Let's just break down why this is happening. First, it's about convenience, right? You put powder rooms near living areas to keep guests out of your private family space. Then there's privacy. The ensuite bathroom has become the standard, so every person, family, and guest gets their own dedicated space. And finally, it comes right back around to luxury and status. The bathroom isn't a utility room anymore. It's become a personal spa, a retreat, and a reflection of your lifestyle.
Of course, this cultural shift could only happen because of a technological one. Before World War II, plumbing was made of heavy cast iron and copper. It was expensive and difficult to install, so one bathroom per house was the norm. But then, the arrival of affordable PVC pipes in the 60s and 70s was a total game changer. It made a second or even third bathroom something the middle class could actually afford. And this trend has a very real impact on your wallet. The data shows that just adding a bathroom can increase a home's value by an average of 5.7%. So it's not just a luxury, it's a pretty serious financial investment. And this really hammers home the bathroom's new power. It's so central to our idea of modern comfort that for a lot of buyers, the bathroom count isn't negotiable. It's a deal breaker, an absolute must-have. So we end up right back where we started, with our homes telling our story. From the public face of an architectural style to the hidden revolution in the bathroom, our homes reflect what we want: privacy, comfort, and status. It really leaves us with one final question to chew on. What is this modern obsession with the bathroom, this whole journey from a private function to a public display? What does it really say about who we are today?